Second base is absolutely, no doubt, the weakest position in fantasy baseball right now. There are two elite players at the top who both have pretty serious injury concerns, then an uninspiring yet solid tier right behind them of stable veterans, and not really the most exciting depth options after that, despite the hope for a few key bounce backs. So I'm going to help you guys navigate this position by ranking the top 20 or so best players there on a tier list. If you guys are not already, please subscribe to the channel down below. We have position ranking videos coming out over the next 2 weeks. Also, don't forget to drop this video a like and let me know in the comments where you think I went right or went wrong with these rankings. Again, this position's a disaster, so let's get into it. Tier 1, we have Ketel Marte and Jazz Chisholm Jr. Again, two elite players, but they're just kind of scary in their own rights. If you guys are playing in points-based leagues, Ketel is far and away the best player. If you guys are playing in category or rotisserie-based leagues, Jazz definitely edges out Ketel. But to talk about each individually, I think Ketel Marte gets slept on a little bit for how good of a hitter he actually is. The only qualified players with a higher OPS than Marte last season were Aaron Judge, Shohei Ohtani, George Springer, Cal Raleigh, Kyle Schwarber, and Juan Soto. That's the entire list. That's an elite group of guys. Ketel does that by marrying incredible swing decisions, incredible batted ball quality, great hitter from both sides of the plate, pulls the bulk of his fly balls, lifts, barrels. He does everything at the plate, basically as well as any hitter in the league. The only problem is Ketel will spend time on the injured list. It's a guarantee. He's only played at least 150 games one time in the last 5 seasons, despite usually getting to that 125 game threshold. But just to give you guys a quick rundown of reasons he's missed games over the last 5 years, and these are the body parts that have been injured: a foot, a groin, a hamstring, an ankle, lower body, hand, back, illness, knee, quad, back. That only takes us to 2023. Undisclosed, hamstring, hand, hip, hamstring. That takes us back to the beginning of the 2021 season. Ketel Marte will miss time, but when he's on the field, he's elite. Then you have Jazz, again, who loves to miss a chunk of time every single season, but also when he's on the field, he is elite. He's caught a lot of flack in the media recently for saying he didn't just want to have a 40-40 season. He wanted to have a 50-50 season before signing a super contract. And the thing that's funny about that is that I think a 40-40 season is actually in play for Jazz Chisholm. Since he was traded to the Yankees about a week before the 2024 trade deadline, his 162-game pace is about for 40 home runs and 45 stolen bases. So if he does stay healthy, he will be great, but he takes a huge knock in points leagues because those stolen bases don't have as much value. He will have a low batting average. He will strike out a ton. The on-base percentage is high, so he gets another bump in leagues that value that. But again, just manage your draft. If your guys are playing in a points league, prefer Ketel. A rotisserie league, prefer Jazz. And understand also that Jazz having eligibility at second base and third base on most fantasy websites is a gold mine for value. Now moving on to the next tier, this gets way less fun and way less interesting really quickly. We have Jose Altuve, Bryce Terang, Nico Horner, and Luke Keeschel. Again, this is just a very weird tier, and sadly, this position is so weak for 10 to 12 team leagues just because almost his entire top 10 outside the top 2 guys are not really fun, are not really interesting, and there's not really that even much definite upside. We're going to go through regardless. I want to start here with Altuve just again, give him the nod for the Hall of Fame career. Understand that now he's entering his late 30s. He's kind of falling off, but I still think he has a very good chance to be the third best second baseman in fantasy this year. I don't think he'll ever be an elite player again. I'm really not looking at him before pick 85, 90 in my drafts because he's just blatantly coming off the worst season of his career. His 771 OPS was his lowest in a full season since 2013, and his 265 batting average was a real break from having a 300 batting average over the last 3 seasons combined. But at the same time, a 780 OPS, a 265 batting average to go along with 26 home runs from this position, it's actually very good. He was a top 5 performing second baseman in the league still last year, and by far the worst year of his career. This all came with piss poor underlying metrics, especially in the power department. But again, a guy like Altuve, who's been this consistent for this long, he's never really had the best underlying metrics. I don't really care as much. He's still pulling all his fly balls into the Crawford boxes. He's still going to be productive. He's still going to hit near the top of a decent batting order. He just has the benefit of the doubt for being a top 5 guy. And the dual eligibility from playing some outfield last year helps. Then we have Bryce Terang, who kind of came out of semi-nowhere last year to be the #1 overall second baseman if you guys play in a categories or rotisserie-based league. And the funny thing about Terang is that he kind of built up his fantasy value over the last few years by being a speed demon. And last year, he took the #1 spot with power production. Just to give you guys a refresher, between 2023 and 2024, Terang played 292 games over the 2 seasons and combined for 13 home runs, 91 RBIs, 118 runs scored, a 239 batting average, and a 303 on-base percentage. If he wasn't one of the best defensive second basemen in the leagues, he would have just probably been benched after that. Then last season, he plays 156 games. He has 18 home runs, 81 RBIs, 97 runs scored, 288 batting average, top 20 among all qualified hitters in the league, and a 359 on-base percentage. He was better last year than the 2 seasons before combined. Like, it was just amazing what he did. And that came at the same time as he cut his stolen bases in half from 50 in 2024 to 24 in 2025. But honestly, that's cool with me if he's still able to hit like he did. And I think a lot of the changes that happened under the hood makes me think he kind of can at least get close to that once again. Turang had one of the lowest bat speeds in the league his first 2 years at 66 miles per hour. Last year, he got that up over 70 miles per hour to nearly 71 miles per hour. That's still not great bat speed, but that gets him at least near league average. He's within a stone's throw of league average, which again, from the worst bat speed in the league to nearly average, that's a huge deal. In doing that, his max exit velocity jumped up from 108 miles per hour to 111 miles per hour. That 111 is better than league average. And in doing so, he tripled his total barrels. He had a good hard hit rate. It's just kind of surreal how hard Bryce Turang hit the ball last year if you'd watched the first 2 years of his career. But happy for him that he did it. The underlying stuff says he could probably do it again. I'm a tiny bit scared at this draft cost he now has, but I'm really not going to be surprised at all if this works out and he's a top 3 second baseman once again. Then we have Nico Horner, who's rock solid but so boring. In rotisserie scoring, which is great. That floor is super solid, but again, there's not much of a ceiling because he doesn't really hit any home runs and there's not really any power to speak of. Real life, I love Nico Horner. He's amazing at defense. He's just a gritty, nails kind of player. Great with runners in scoring position. Love having that guy on your team. Again, in fantasy baseball, it's a batting average driven profile, lots of contact, low strikeouts, decent stolen bases, lots of runs scored, of course. It's fun. He always produces. He's good in points leagues because he puts the ball in play. He's good in rotisserie leagues. He steals bases and has a high average. Nico Horner's fun. He's just not special. And you never feel good drafting Nico Horner in fantasy baseball, but a lot of your teams probably get far if you have Nico Horner at this very bad second base position. And I wanted to throw my dog Keishel in here to close out this tier. The rest of these guys are much more stable, much more secure than Keishel, but what he did in a short sample last year was really impressive. He played 49 games, had 207 plate appearances, so basically a quarter of a season, a little bit more than a quarter of a season, but less than a third. He had 4 homers, not that special, but 14 steals, good walk rate, very low strikeout rate, a 300 batting average, a 380 on base, an OPS that was well over 800. He was a doubles animal, 14 of them, again, just 200 plate appearances. I don't know if he can match that same power production, but I really love the way this guy plays, and he did that production last year after breaking his arm after his first week in the league, coming back at the end of the season, and still just playing with his hair on fire. There's some skills that he has that are just absolutely elite. His contact rate is elite. His swing decisions are super elite. I think that will keep his on-base percentage, his batting average high, his strikeouts low, his stolen bases high because he's very fast. Power, again, if he got 15 home runs, I think that'd be a great outcome. And with that, he could have 30 steals, a 270 average, a 350 on base, like a 400, 410 slug. That would put him, if he does that, easily in the top 5 second baseman. So I'm treating him like that. He's going to be in the top of a Twins lineup that objectively sucks, but he's going to be on top of that lineup. He's going to get tons of plate appearances, more and more at bats. His defense is very bad. I think the Twins are bad enough, though. They're going to let him ride out second base. So again, in on Keishel. There's a very risky ranking, but I really like the player. Now moving on to the next tier is kind of just chaos of stable veterans and bounce backs we're hoping for. Got Gleyber Torres, Ozzy Albies, Marcus Semien, Brandon Lau, Jorge Polanco, Matt McClain, Brendan Donovan. Chaos there. This is the tier you're looking for in your 10, 12 team leagues to get the last starting caliber player. I'm going to tell you guys why right now. First of all, I'm putting Gleyber at the top of this tier just because I still really like the player. If you guys play in 5x5 rotisserie leagues, especially the high stakes ones on the NFBC, he's being drafted right now as the 18th second baseman. I have him ranked here as my 7th. I think that ADP is just way too low. And again, I know why. It's because he's not going to hit more than 15 homers. He's probably not going to steal more than 15 bags. And he's not a threat to have a 300 batting average. He's going to be so solid across the board. Again, 15 to 20 homers, 10 to 12 stolen bases. He's like a lock for a 260 average and 350 on base. Being in that ballpark, Comerica and Detroit, again, really hurts the way he's able to produce. He's going to be in the top third of what could be a sneaky good Tigers lineup. There'll be 170 runs and RBIs combined. He makes some of the best swing decisions in the entire league at this point. He's a guy who I love, again, in these points-based 10 and 12 team leagues because he's ranked rather low on most websites, and you can let your entire league take their second basemen, and like the second or third to last round, just take Gleyber Torres. They'll probably score like the 8th most points out of all the ones that were drafted. Then we got Ozzy Albies again. This is just a betting on the bounce back with a really good track record. It's 2 bad years in a row now, which is scary, but he's still just 29, so he should be better. I don't know. He was better after the All-Star break than he was in the first half. He's still a much better hitter from the right side than the left side, but that right side went from being super elite to just okay last year. Again, just there's like a blind bounce back ranking. I hope for it, but in doing so, everybody check out Ozzy's Fish, Ozzy's Aquarium on Instagram and TikTok. I can't believe how good of content he's making over there. Everyone follow that. And again, maybe he's a top 10 second baseman again this season. Similar, but much older, Marcus Semien getting traded from the Rangers to the Mets. I'm kind of just hoping for one more bounce of Semien, one more very good season. I really was out on him last year, and then he kind of confirmed my suspicions by having his second straight year with OPS that started with a 6. But the shape of his season kind of tells a different story, where through his first 56 games, Semien had a 173 batting average and a 485 OPS. It looked like his career was like over with those kind of stats through a month and a half. But then over his last 71 games, he looked like the Semien we've known for the last few years. He had a 270, 338, 464 triple slash with 14 home runs. You extrapolate that over a full season, again, that's a dangerous proposition. I could still see Marcus Semien having like 24 homers and like a 250 average, like a 730, 740 OPS, and being maybe in the middle, back middle, the fifth or sixth hitter in a Mets lineup that looks like it could be very good. I am a little bit scared about the fact that he had a fractured foot that ended last season when he fouled the ball off it. But again, he's looked good this spring. He's smacking the ball around. Citi Field's also a bit kinder to right-handed pull hitters than Globe Life in Texas was to Semien last year, and he's a pulled fly ball king. I just really won't be surprised if he winds up as a top 5 second baseman. I also will not be surprised if his OPS starts with a 6 again and he's completely unplayable. Next up, we have Brandon Lau. If you guys want power from your second baseman, Lau is basically one of the only guys to do it. There's not many players on this list who are true 30 home run threats. Lau hit that threshold last year. Also, funny enough, it was only the second time in Brandon Lau's career that he played at least 130 games. Also, no coincidence, the second time he's hit 30 home runs. It's very funny how that works, but there's a lot of things working against his fantasy profile. All of the strikeouts kill him in points leagues. The really low batting average makes him very scary in rotisserie leagues. He gets a bump in OBP leagues just because he's getting on base a lot, he's drawing his walks, and again, he's hitting those homers. There's also a big park downgrade coming here for Lau from last year compared to this year. PNC Park is just not kind to left-handed hitters. Last year, Steinbrenner Field's modeled after Yankee Stadium. It's like the kindest to left-handed hitters. So again, he's a power play there. It's just you have to kind of fit him into the right roster. Then funny enough, we have another Met, Jorge Polanco, also coming over this year. Interestingly enough, the plan is for him to play first base this year. So the fact that Polanco is going to pick up that first base and second base dual eligibility, that's gold right there. At the same time, right now he projects to hit cleanup behind Francisco Lindor, Juan Soto, and Bo Bichette. Like, could Jorge Polanco have 25 homers and 100 RBIs? Like, pretty easily if he actually plays enough games. Sad thing is, he's probably not going to play enough games. Polanco misses a month every single season. His knees are not very good. I'm sure the Mets put him at DH a good bit, take a little bit of load off him, and him just not playing the middle infield anymore probably also helps those knees stay healthier. Just you're taking Polanco at the back end of a 10 or 12 team draft or picking him up off the waiver wire just to be your first injury replacement of the year. Now, probably the second baseman I'm most excited to draft in most of my leagues, Matt McClain on the Reds. Last year was awful, disgustingly bad. There's absolutely no hiding that. He was the 4th worst qualified hitter in all of baseball in terms of OPS, only behind Joey Ortiz, Ke'Bryan Hayes, Luis Rengifo. Funny enough, all 4 of those players, Ortiz, Hayes, Rengifo, and McClain, are starting on 2 teams in the NL Central. Those 4 guys are within 2 teams in the same division. Just goes to show you about the NL Central, what they require from their players. But after McClain's super breakout 2023 season, he had a very serious labrum tear in his shoulder. Spring training in 2024 caused him to miss all of that season. Came back last year and he just wasn't right. He was not good. Again, one of the worst hitters in the league. Even by being that bad, he still found a way to be nearly a 2020 bat. The Reds still trusted him enough and pushed him enough to play every single day. He's still their second baseman. All indications are that he'll open the season as their 2-hole hitter. I really still like McClain, especially because when he broke out in 2023 and when he was really bad in 2025, all of his underlying metrics were like the same. Check out this table right now. We got quality of contact. We've got swing decisions. We have batted ball percentages. Everything looked very similar to McClain when he was an absolute hotshot breakout pick, and now when he's a complete afterthought in drafts. You just probably think that he's going to split the middle of these 2 statistical outputs and easily be a top 10, top 8 second baseman. He's being drafted way behind that. Then to close this tier, we got Brendan Donovan. This is a points league dog. If you guys are playing category rotisserie leagues, forget about Donovan. If you guys are playing points leagues, push him up your board because all this guy does is put the ball in play. He runs a high batting average, and it looks like he's going to hit leadoff in the Mariners lineup ahead of Julio Rodriguez, Cal Raleigh, Randy Rosarena, and Josh Naylor. Those are 4 elite run producers, and Brendan Donovan is going to have one of the highest on-base percentages in the league. That is a recipe for success. He's going to stack points, and there's a good chance he moves around the field a bit for the Mariners this year. He could play some second, could play some third, could play some outfield. Very fun chess piece at the end of the draft in your points leagues teams. Second to last tier here, probably guys you're still not even thinking about in your 10 or 12 team leagues, but I still want to mention them because they all have some intrigue. Xavier Edwards, Jackson Holliday, Bryson Stott, Ceddanne Rafaela. Truthfully for me, it's kind of my no draft list, but I'm going to tell you guys why for each one. I mean, Edwards is just like, if you play in a categories league, he's going to steal 40 bases. Sometimes in your team builds, you just went power early, you need speed late, that's it. Points leagues, he probably kind of is an afterthought, but he also will make tons of contact. His batting average will probably be relatively high, but his OBP will be a little bit low. He's like just a solid emergency play. Then we have Jackson Holliday, who I'm so out on right now. I was out at him anyway. His ADP was skyrocketing in early drafts. I didn't really figure out why. It kind of felt like he was being drafted at or near his ceiling just from still having that number one overall prospect shine from a few years ago. Now he broke his hamate bone. He might miss opening day, and his power might lag the entire year when his power production wasn't even that good last season. I just don't really know what to make of Holiday right now. It kind of feels like he's doing this push and pull with himself on whether or not he wants to be a power hitter or a contact hitter. And in doing so, a lot of his key power metrics trended down last year from his rookie year. And again, wasn't really productive in either. But watching those power metrics trend down while still that, especially in zone contact rate, isn't high, I just don't know what happens. Holiday also needs to pull more of his fly balls because, again, the raw power isn't super elite, and he kind of gotten eaten alive by Camden Yards trying to use that power alley for him as a left-handed bat in left center field. He needs to find a way to pull those fly balls out over the big wall in right field to get big power production because right now, that ballpark's eating him alive. And this kind of feels like it might be the beginning of a lost season. Maybe I'm quitting on Holiday too early. Again, I'm not quitting on him for his career, but just I'm staying away this season for sure. Bryson Stott, like whatever, he'll play most days. The Phillies have started to hide him a bit more against left-handed pitching. He's going to hit 10 homers, steal 30 bags, have like a 270 average. If you think that's a good fit in your team, by all means. And then lastly, here's Ceddanne Rafaela. This guy probably just won't have on any of my teams because my ranking on him is so much lower than the consensus. And it's just the feast or famine profile. I can't really get behind it. Like maybe he goes crazy Pete Crow Armstrong style and he has his 35 homers and 35 stolen bases with like a 240 average and a 300 on base percentage. I just don't really want to play for that. He's probably a below league average hitter. He'll be on the field because of his defense. The power and the speed are both really fun. But last year, even as much of a free swinger he is, and he's one of the most free swingers in the league, with a strikeout rate that was under 20%, he still only had a 91 WRC plus. Like, I don't know the steps that Ceddanne Rafaela has to take to become a consistent hitter. I just don't know if I want to bet on that this year. But this position's so weak, it's kind of just may as well. And then last year, close it out, guys I want to mention who maybe you should think about with your last pick in a 10 or 12 team league. Luis Garcia was a huge breakout after 2 seasons ago. Last year, he kind of flopped. This year, he's going to play first base, so I just like the middle infield, corner infield eligibility. Tommy Edman, hopefully is healthy, cannot be as bad as he was last year. It's fun to just get pieces, cheap pieces that Dodgers lineup. Aldo Lopez, I kind of like as a plate appearance play in deeper leagues. He's kind of just middling and everything, but like so is Geraldo Perdomo heading into last year. Lopez is a great shortstop defender. He'll be on the field a lot. Not comparing Lopez to Perdomo, but I might make a video either on here or on the windup with Mark about who could be this year's Geraldo Perdomo. Not there just going to be one, but Lopez kind of ticks a lot of boxes as having some underlying stuff that is fun and a guy who's a great defender who's just getting a lot of reps under his belt. And then have to mention 2 big prospects, Travis Bazzana and JJ Weatherholt. Weatherholt, all indications that he probably is going to be the opening day second baseman for the Cardinals. He's going to be eligible at both short and second base. And if you guys watch my top 10 prospect video, that is in the link down below, Weatherholt is going to make tons of contacts, probably going to run a high batting average, especially for a rookie. He's going to steal lots of bases. I just don't know if he has home run power, at least at this point. But if you get like 12 home runs, 20 stolen bases, 280 batting average, kind of like a different version, like a sexy Brendan Donovan, that's fun in a lot of leagues. And Bazzana, he's kind of become an afterthought after being the top pick in a very loaded 2024 draft. He was also featured in that top 10 prospects video. He's kind of raking in spring training. He dealt with 2 oblique injuries last year in the upper minors. I think the Guardians know he's the best second baseman in their organization. In knowing that, I think they're going to give him a shot because that lineup needs a shot in the arm. I like Bazzana and Weatherholt. Again, as like last round pick dart throws, if I kind of missed the second basemans I wanted, maybe if I took a risk on McLean or I have Albies, I have Semien, and I kind of want to add a little spice, a little wrinkle behind that, I like to get Weatherholt or Bazzana on one of my teams. I think both these guys are debuting before April 10th. But that's it, guys. That's the second baseman tier list. Thank you all so much. Again, shortstop tier list just came out. That's in the description. I also have sleeper rookie video I just made, the top 10 prospects video I've talked about, more and more ranking videos coming out the rest of this week and next. Thank you guys all so much for watching. I will see you next time. Thanks so much.